You're listening to Cat Tales.
Hi, I'm Kat, and you're listening to Cat Tales. This tale is about the frontman of one of the most iconic bands of the last 40 years. Best known for singles Hit Me With Your Rhythm Stick, Reasons to Be Cheerful Part 3, and What a Waste, Ian Dury and the Blockheads chalked up hit after hit until Ian's death in 2000. But Ian's passing didn't deter the Blockheads from continuing to produce and perform great music led by the distinctive vocals of Derek Hussey, one of Ian's closest friends and companions on tour. This is the one with Derek Hussey. Derek Hussey, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
No worries at all. And yes, you're the voice of the Blockheads now, aren't you? Which is an incredible band to be part of. You haven't actually been in many other bands before, have you?
No. In actual fact, when my son was very young, when he was 15, I was in his little band for a bit just to get him started because he was a keen musician. And I used to bang away on the guitar for a bit then. But I had a special effects business back before, well before I met Ian, and so I've always been an armchair musician.
Oh, that's brilliant. And the history with the Blockheads goes way beyond you actually performing in the band, doesn't it? Because you have been personal friends with Ian for many, many years. That's
right, yeah. We met about 1989, after his initial success, and when Chad came back from America, they were writing some stuff and they were going to make another album. And it was just previous to when he appeared in the Mad Stocks in Finsbury Park, about 1990, I believe.
So how did the transition happen from obviously being with Ian to finally performing in the band?
Oh, well, it's quite interesting. I got to know Ian in the 89, and I live in Wimbledon. He was living in Hammersmith at the time, which is just down the road. And we became friends, and Mickey used to look after him on a sort of fairly daily basis and go out and do all his business things with him and pick him up and drive him around. And I had this special effects company I had been working in since I was a youngster with my brother. And he said, well, look, if you've got some spare time, why don't you come out and we'll have some fun on the rock and roll circuit? And, it'll free Mickey up. Mickey won't have to come and collect me because you live just round the corner. And we'll just go out and have some fun. It's not a sort of a job per se. It was just, as mates, and and we'll have some fun. And which is exactly what happened, And my only really brief with Ian was to lift him up if he fell on his arse. Rarely did, but there was a certain way of hoisting him back to his feet, which was quite straightforward. And also, if we're going up some stairs that didn't have the banister rail on the wrong way, because his left hand was severely, he had a little arm on his left-hand side, so that was pretty much useless. So if the rail was on the left, I had to, help him upstairs. And that was about as far as it went. There was no gophering or anything like that, and the rest was just hanging out, having fun. We did that for 10 years.
And I bet you did have some fun as well.
Yeah, but it didn't really. It was a non-job really. It wasn't a job per se. There was no money involved. It was just mates, and we had some hilarious times, and it was for me as a sort of a wannabe rock and roller. But for circumstances, I had a couple of kids when I was in my early 20s, and I had this business, so music never really became a career for me. But when I become quite comfortable in the 80s, and we've made quite a bit of money in my business, and so I had plenty of spare time. If I wanted to go away with Ian, I had the opportunity to do that, and I relived my youth really on the rock and roll front, just hanging out with the band, and what a fantastic band to hang out with.
Oh, aren't they just? And they're full of character. Every single member of that band is full of character, which is great, isn't it?
And it was great for them because Ian could be trying at times, and they'd had quite a few years of Ian's, shenanigans, if you like, so sometimes they like to get away from Ian, but which wasn't very easy if they were, they were looking after him at the same time. So I took over those duties, of hanging out with him in between and at gigs. and it turned out to be a very successful, scenario.
Yeah, because I have heard that Ian was quite demanding as well, wasn't he? What sort of person would you describe him as?
Well, yeah, I mean, it had polio since he was quite young, and it worked out ways of manipulating people, getting his own way, because his mobility was a bit, limited in certain areas, although he never really saw himself as disabled, But there were certain things he needed a bit of a hand with, And so, yeah, he could. But I found all that really amusing, because we come to an arrangement very early on. I wasn't an employee, so he couldn't, and he'd always had people looking after him who he'd paid previously, So our relationship was different. So because he didn't pay me, he didn't owe me. He didn't own me.
Yes.
So he had to compromise in his demands of me, really. And although I was prepared to do pretty much anything, if it wasn't going to be a laugh, but it was going to, or it got a little bit airy at times, I'd go, I think we'd better get out of here, or I became his conscience.
Right.
Whereas before he didn't really have one, because he made people do exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, I suppose being his equal, I guess, weren't you? Because you weren't contracted, therefore you didn't have anything to lose in a way, did you?
And if I didn't think it was going to be fun, and I thought it was going to be a bit airy or turn a bit naughty, I'd choose to bail out. So rather than hang around and then deal with any sort of anything that went down, we'd already be on the way to the car and out of there.
Yes.
Once you start to wind people up, because people don't hit people that are physically disabled.
Mm.
So he could always push the envelope. He'd take a liberty because he knew there wouldn't be a consequence, because you've got to be some kind of,
Exactly, he's got away with everything, didn't he, really?
Mostly, when he used to wind people up in like hotel concierges or people, it was normally really good fun, because he had a way with words. You couldn't win an argument with Ian. No matter what it was, you could just never win. He always had to have the last word, even if it was 3 weeks later.
That wordsmith was his trademark, though, wasn't it?
It was, and it served him really, really well. And as I say, 99 times out of 100, it was hilariously funny. I'd be pissing myself with laughter, and it was fun. But if it did get a bit stiggy, I'd say right, I think we'd better bail out. That's where I think that's where I scored with everybody, really. So I said, don't call me a minder, because I'm not. I can't even mind myself, and I won't be hitting anybody either, because I'm a pacifist. I'm an old hippie. But we go with the flow, and we say we get out of there when I think it's time, then everything will be good. And if I ever say to you, Ian, I can't remember what it was now. I had this little, those emergency words that people have when they're playing multi-game. I have one for Ian. I said, if I ever say it, then that I'm, I've had enough, and I'm, the next minute I might go a bit naughty, miss myself.
I love that. So it's almost like a telepathy, isn't it, really? But it's a secret code, and one word, that's it.
And he knew he couldn't wind me up.
Yes. Yeah.
We had a really nice arrangement with each other. Oh, Nick, that's right. I said if he ever hear me say, I think we'd better nip this in the bud, he'd know that that was about as far as I was going with anything. Because after that, now,
there's trouble.
It could be, yeah. I could get the ump. I could possibly get the ump.
Yeah, and then everybody's in trouble.
We had some great times.
It sounds it, and of course at that time it was really it was just after the punk era had been, hadn't it? Really, it was really kind of like on the back of the punk era. Although obviously the Blockheads are not punk; they're more sort of rock, funk, lots of different elements to that music. But I suspect quite a few of the gigs you were at were could be quite a challenge.
Oh yeah. But you see, Ian had been after the stiff tours and stuff like that. He'd done quite a lot of acting, and he only really started getting the band back together again back in the sort of like early 90s on a serious basis when he wrote Mr. Love Pants.
Yeah,
that album. So Yeah, we did. We worked with Madness a bit, you know. That was a bit airy because, you know, they had skinheads looking after them and stuff like that. You know, that could be a bit airy. But yeah, no, it was pretty much. It was. And Ian always used to want to be last chicken in the shop as well. After gigs, you know, when the security wanted to go home, Ian would still be sitting there.
Oh, crikey.
You know, it was like best after the gig, like sitting there and everybody coming in the dressing room to see him, you know. Once he'd had a couple of night hours, he didn't really want to get up.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Because getting it in out was normally a bit of a bake, you know.
I can imagine.
All in all, it was, you know, they were great times, you know.
And I think what's lovely, though, is that the Blockheads have continued beyond Ian, though, haven't they? And I think this is what's great about the band.
Well, we've made 4 albums since Ian gone, and I've written the lyrics with Chaz. And, you know, although we're a cottage industry now, the promoters didn't seem very interested. They said, well, Ian Dury is dead now, isn't he? That's it, isn't it? We've continued to tour and have quite a lot of success in our own, you know, sort of cottage industry type way, really.
Yeah, it's almost like being regenerated in a way, and the following is, I would say, having seen you quite a few times live, is equally as strong now as it was in the days of Ian.
Yeah, well, see, they didn't really want to carry on and be a tribute band to themselves after Ian passed away. Chaz said if we were just going to go and perform the old catalogue, he didn't want to do it. So it was imperative that we wrote other material to go with. I mean, we still do, of course. We do. It's half and half thing now. We do half of the hits. So we've got so many great songs to do that we never run out of. We don't keep our best 3 till last.
No.
We sprinkle them across, and we mix them in with the new stuff. And you know, although I say it myself, Chad is fiercely proud of what we've done since Ian's died. And my writing is, I wouldn't say it's the same as Ian's, but it's sort of it's done in a similar vernacular, and it's done with a certain amount of wit and a certain amount of observation. And the fans seem to think that it sort of fits seamlessly with what we used to do.
Yeah, I would say that's true. And I mean, you've always been writing poetry, haven't you? And prose, and which actually is the basis of a lyric, isn't it? So, how long have you been doing that for?
Oh, I've always been a little bit of a scribble, you know, and stuff. But when it comes to thinking about making an album after Ian had died, it was Where's the Party?
Yeah.
Mickey, John, and that had some songs that already in the can of their own, and Chaz was a bit behind the ball and he didn't have any. So he said to me, "Well, why don't you come over and we'll see what we can rustle up, you know?"
Yeah.
So I did that, and we've done a couple of tracks on Where's the Party. One of them being Spread It Where It Counts. I think it was one of the first song I ever wrote with Chaz. I think it still is one of the best I've ever written. And so we got a couple of songs there, and then we took over the writing duties. So on Staring Down a Barrel, that Peter Blake done a beautiful cover for, and Same Horse Different Jockey that Sarah Lucas done a brilliant cover for. Chaz and I wrote all the songs.
Oh, isn't that amazing? That's brilliant, isn't it? So from actually, you know, being behind the others in terms of actually getting the songs together, you're now taking the lead of that, and that sort of space and owning that space, which is such an important role to play, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they kind of thought that, you know, I brought a continuity to it all. Not only because I come from London, you know, I was born in Fulham, so I'm a genuine Londoner. You know, when Johnny was doing the singing, you know, initially straight after Ian died, Johnny Turnbull was doing most of the singing.
Yeah.
He's got a slight Geordie accent, so the songs, I think, although he sung them brilliantly, they did lose a bit in the translation. There was a slight twang, Geordie twang.
Yeah.
So when he was working with Bob Geldof and Carl Wallinger as well, and he had to go away on a little tour, and we had some gigs. So they said, "Well, Derek, you'd better learn the hits that Johnny had been singing, you know, so we can do these shows while he's away." And when he come back, they said, "Well, look, Derek's doing the singing now because it just makes for more of a cohesive show, you know, just having the one guy at the front." Got the gig before, really. I wasn't looking to hog the limelight. I just got dragged into it.
Well, that's excellent, though, but I can see why, because, you know, that whole sort of identity of the Blockheads was revolving around Ian, but then to transition beyond that into your, you know, your own right and have longevity, it's still good to have some reference to the roots, isn't it, without being, as you say, a tribute band. And I think that's what you bring so perfectly well to it.
Well, it was. Some people say it was impossible. It was an impossible job for me to pick up, really. But I just, in performing Ian's hits and songs that Ian wrote as part of the gig, I just like to, you know, make sure that I get my lips around the word. People can hear and understand the words in a clear and cohesive way, so that I could, you know, we can get those words across. It's so fantastic. And in my own stuff, well, you know, then I've got free license to perform those how I choose and how I like. So it all works pretty seamlessly. And yeah, it's been a gas, you know. So lucky to have transcended just hanging out to performing. I haven't got much of an ego, so I'm not looking for you know, self-aggrandizement or anything like that. It's the Blockheads. It's not me and the Blockheads. It's the Blockheads now.
That's so lovely, though, isn't it? And also the fact that you all are really, for all intents and purposes, great friends as well, aren't you? That chemistry between you all is a very important element of the Blockheads, isn't it?
Well, I've been hanging out with them now for almost 30 years, and I can't remember really. There's never been a cross word. It's fun. It's, you know, when we going out with your mates in the back of a van at the weekend, entertaining people, and then getting some money, getting paid for doing it, is, well, it's, I don't know. It's a job made in heaven, isn't it? There's not a downside to it. As soon as we get in the van, we're having fun, you know.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing. Norman Watroy is, you know, he's always been a musician from the age of 16, you know.
Amazing.
He's never had a job. And he works with Wilco Johnson in between, you know, on the road with Wilco.
Yeah, who's another great character, isn't he? And he sometimes has, in the past, played with you guys, hasn't he?
Yeah. And, you know, they're all very, very... And, you know, Gilad Atzmon, our saxophone player, you know, he's something else. Well, they all are, really.
I know.
You know, I can't believe, you know, I'm just involved with so many virtuoso musicians. Are so fantastic. It will allow me to stand at the front. Somebody can't really, you know, I shout and holler a lot, but I can sort of sing in tune. But the beauty of the Blockheads is they don't really want somebody that can sing. They like to have the sophistication of their music with something rough and ready dolloped on top.
I love it.
I'm really good at that.
Oh, that's excellent. I mean, that's exactly what Ian did as well, wasn't it, really? He stood up there and just almost spoke the lyrics, didn't he, rather than sing?
Yeah. And if the lyrics got content, also, this is the other thing, you know, songs these days, they don't, there's something to be heard in my lyrics, you know. They're about something. They have a sort of a raison d'etre in their own, you know, there's something in them. There's a message. It's not just random words and that sort of match, and there's a story involved in every song, you know.
I know, and that's what's so beautiful, I think, about the Blockheads. You've got both of those elements, haven't you? I mean, a lot of bands rely on one or the other, predominantly the music, I think, very often. So to hear those lyrics is wonderful. Yeah,
I think it's very, very important, you know, and it doesn't matter about it is in the written or in the spoken word that where you're getting the sentiment for a song. Okay, it's very nice if it's delivered in this lovely manner, but you know, when you talk about modern music, I don't listen to modern music, you know. That's all. I listen to Radio 3 now, you know, if I had the radio on. I can't stand those nasal tones of boy bands, and I can't stand schmaltzy soul stuff, you know, like the 80s and 90s. I go back to the roots. I listen to proper musicians, you know. I'm a folky at heart, really. I play the acoustic guitar finger style, and my favourites are, you know, Davy Graham, John Renbourn, you know, Paul Brady, Martin Simpson, Pierre Ben Susan, Django Reinhardt.
Wonderful.
That sort of stuff. Bob Dylan. I love Richard Thompson's great. Ry Cooder. So if it's not serious, proper music, I don't really listen to it. I don't listen to Herman's Hermits. you know.
Got you. That 3-minute pop song just doesn't cut it.
I never had, you know, back in the day when I was a kid, I was a child of the 60s, you know. I used to go to gigs at the Royal College of Art and Ill Pie Island and the Roundhouse and the Ealing Club, you know, and I'd see Jimmy Page and, you know, Jeff Beck and stuff. I like, you know, John Mayall. I like proper roots music, and I've never really been interested in pop music. So when I sit in my armchair, I fiddle around on my acoustic guitar playing Little Fingerstyle. I always think guitarists ought to keep their mouth shut and just play their guitar, you know, because as soon as folkies open their mouth, I think it ruins it, you know. I like Don Vaughan, but I just wish he'd just play the guitar, you know. I don't really want to hear him sing.
I love it. So looking back at that first time you went to took to the stage, how did you feel? Was that like a dream come true, or was it like, oh my God, what the hell have I done?
I was absolutely petrified. Because the band, there's 7 people in the band. If one of them forgets a chord or what's his name, it doesn't matter. You don't notice it. Right? Then the rest of the band carry on. But if you're the singer and you lose the word, it's no good thinking about the word you've just forgotten, because you're 2 lines down the road by that time. You know, you've got to think of. And by the time you've stopped and wondered what you've forgotten, it's very hard to pick up on where you ought to be. So it is very stressful. And the Blockheads are like standing in front of a Blue Street rocket.
Yes.
It's not a place for the faint-hearted. As I found out, you know, once or twice.
Oh, wow.
It's a scary experience, but, you know, Ian died in 2000 now. I've been doing this for 18 years.
Amazing.
Move my lips now and tap the mic as if something stopped working.
Did you ever think it would carry on that long when you first stood up there to sing? Did you think you'd still be going all those years later? No,
I didn't. I think if it hadn't been for working on these 4 albums, every 4 years we make an album. If it hadn't been for that, I don't think it would have been going on. And, you know, we could guarantee pretty much 300 or 400 people every time we turn up to play if the promoter's done his job right. And it's quite a good place to be, actually, because it's we play intimate places, you know, mostly art centres and little clubs and stuff like that. But we just recently done the Let's Rock London and Let's Rock Bristol and those 80s sort of retro things.
Yeah.
With big crowds, and you know, I think we go down really, really well, because the musicianship is so. People are just surprised, astounded with the music. Really, you know, a lot of bands, they just go. There's a lot of karaoke going on in that festival circuit.
Yes, that's true. Yes, exactly. And they're almost like trying to regenerate a career, whereas actually you guys have continued that career, haven't you?
Well, this is it. This is what's happened, and long may it continue. We're all getting a bit long in the tooth now, but we still really enjoy it, in entertaining and playing.
Well, as long as you can still do it, there's no reason why not. And I mean, you've got lots of gigs lined up and people still want to come and see you. So until that stops, there's no reason to stop it, is there? Well,
no, this is it. I mean, Mickey the other day, Mickey Gallagher, right, bless his little cotton socks. When was it? We done a gig. We was on at 10:30 in Chiddingly down by Eastbourne a couple of weeks ago. The next day we was on Clapham Common at 12:30 on the Let's Rock London. Then Mickey had to go back to Chiddingly to play a gig with the Animals, and meanwhile we'd gone up to Norfolk to do another gig in Diss.
Yeah.
Mickey done the gig went back to Chiddingly and done that gig, and then he met us at Diss later on. So he'd done 4 gigs in 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? And then all the driving that's involved in doing all that, you know.
Oh, well, that's mad, isn't it? But do you know what? That's great as well, isn't it? That's the old-fashioned way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, Norman had an heart attack last year while he was playing a gig.
I know. Is he better?
And he's much better. He's totally better now. But he reckon if he hadn't been doing the gig, if he'd just gone to bed, he might be dead now. You know, but the fact that he collapsed on stage and they called an ambulance, by 3 o'clock in the morning, he had a stent put in the artery in his heart, and he was in recovery. And 3 weeks later, he was back gigging again.
Wow. That's incredible, isn't it? Oh, that's an amazing story. Yes, I'm so pleased to hear he's better. But you're right in a way, because it was so visible. There he was. Everybody could see what was going on. Amazing.
Yeah. He's fantastic. So they've all got. Of course, we've got a young drummer. He's as fit as a fiddle. He's just early 30s. You know, he's a powerhouse. And we've got Gillard Atzman on the saxophone, who's, you know, he's non-stop either. You know, he's 24 hours a day on the go. He doesn't stop. And he's a philosopher. He does a lot of writing and writes books and stuff.
Wow.
And always, I wouldn't bother to look him up because, you know, you wouldn't have enough time to keep up with him.
Oh, dear. So you've got a new album out, though, haven't you? So do you want to tell me about that, then? Just let me know what it's all about.
It's called Beyond the Call of Dury.
Like it. Like it.
And 10 tracks, and there's one track of Ian's that we never actually recorded. The very last track on the album was a track of Ian's that we've done.
Wow! So was that one that was hidden away in the vault somewhere, or how did that come about?
It written for Chaz, and it never really got round to recording it. No, it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think it's the sort of track Ian would have recorded. I think he probably wrote it for Chaz to record himself.
Right.
Because it's a little bit sentimental.
Yeah.
And Ian, you know, he didn't really go for that sort of vibe. Although he did write "You're My Baby," which is quite a lovely little song, but he didn't really go for that sort of sentimental stuff. So we've got that's on the album, and 9 other tracks. I think it's all systems go.
I was going to say, and where could people buy this? This is the important thing, because I'm looking at your website now, and I can see that you've got them all there. Is that the best place to go, or is it on iTunes, or what would you?
Well, it is really, as I say. Well, I think you can buy it on iTunes, but it's like all those things these days. You know, we're a cottage industry, and it's all done mostly through our site. You know, it's all downloads now and stuff, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah.
But some people do like the hard. People of our age like something in their hand, like the hard copy.
Oh, I know. You can't beat that tangibility, can you? And, you know, you're doing stuff on vinyl here as well for those people who want to collect them, so that's great.
Right. And Ian's old mate Cosmo, who used to work back in the Stiff days, he's done the cover for this one. So Peter Blake, Sarah Lucas and Cosmo Vinyl do 3 of our last 4 albums. So the artwork is absolutely fantastic. And it's not just a download, you can get the hard copy. Beyond the Call of Dury. And we've got a documentary, you know, that's been in the making for 2 or 3 years now, that will also called by the same name. But we couldn't wait for the documentary to be finished because did they ever get finished?
Well, this is it, isn't it? If people go on to theblockheads.com, they can get everything they want from you, can't they, in terms of like your
T-shirt and everything, which is an iconic T-shirt, you know, done by Barney Bubbles. You know, that's our little logo that everybody recognises. People come up to me in the street sometimes, they don't know who the fuck I am. Oh, beg pardon. And say, I like your T-shirt, mate. It happened in Waitrose the other day. I went, oh, yeah, it's good, isn't it? Yeah, I didn't say, no, you know, who I was or anything. No. So I'm very humble. I'm quite a humble bloke. I like to hide away. I don't like, you know, as Ian used to say, you know, you don't really want to be sticking your head above the parapet. You know, we're more trouble than it's worth. You're much better off, you know, no one knowing who you are, really.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, actually. Have you found that people treat you differently since you have been at the front of the Blockheads, then?
No, but certainly not anybody I know. I've only had ridicule and scorn. But I have been what they call it, doorstepped in the, out in the street a couple of times. Yeah, people do tend to treat you a little bit differently, but I prefer, I have to say I haven't really got an ego, which is bad, I suppose, for a performer, innit? I should be out there shouting and hollering and putting myself forward, but it's not my bag.
No, I think that's nice. You just got to be yourself, haven't you? And I think that's what's so lovely and genuine about you, Derek. It's lovely.
Thank you, Kat. It's very nice of you to say so.
And thank you so much for talking to me. I'm going to point everybody to your website to have a look at where you are. You've got lots of live gigs coming up this year as well. So people can catch you on the circuit still. And they can buy the album, and they can buy buy all sorts of bits and pieces to wear. And I would highly recommend they come and see you very soon.
People still do like to go and see some proper old music.
Oh, it's been absolutely wonderful talking to you. You will pass my regards on to the guys, won't you? Because I haven't seen them for so long.
Of course I will.
Yeah.
I'll be seeing them Friday. Okay.
Thank you
All right, darling.
so much, and I will see you soon.
You've been listening to Cat